Let's see if you guys can understand this reference. Rap snitches telling on their business, sit in the court and be their own star witness. Do you see the perpetrator? Yeah, I'm right here. Go around, get the whole label sent up for years. Rap snitches. Rap snitches is a reference to Rap Snitch Knishes by MF Doom, featuring Mr. Fantastic. The Fantastic Four is led by Mr. Fantastic. That's how cool my intros are. MF Doom, rest in peace. One more. I got one more for you. This is my show and tell. I got my two $80 popcorn buckets behind me, and I got a couple albums. Some people say vinyls. Those people are wrong. These are vinyl. Singular and plural. It's complicated. So the Fantastic Four consists of Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, and Ben Grimm. Together, they are fantastic, and they are heroic, and they are just what the Marvel Cinematic Universe needed to energize fans. So, the MCU is in a weird spot, and I think a lot of people are giving this movie praise because of the weird spot the MCU is in. But there's also a lot of praise to give this movie because it seems like it's going to usher in another era of fun film for Marvel fans, for comic fans, movie fans to all come together and rejoice. So this movie is essentially about the Fantastic Four being a few years into, really 4 years into their career, and encountering a intergalactic threat in the form of Galactus. Now, Galactus is a giant being, a mechanical monstrosity that eats planets. And his scout in this movie, like a person that works underneath him to try to pick which planets he's going to devour, is the Silver Surfer. This time, she is a woman. If you're my age and not familiar with comics, your idea of the Silver Surfer is the male form voiced by Lawrence Fishburne. Don't call him Larry, because Cameron, the rapper, has a story about him and his friends calling him Larry. Cameron seems like I can't even say his name. That's how douchey he is. Cameron seems like a douche. But yeah, shout out to Lawrence Fishburne. I saw him one time in Buckhead, Atlanta, shopping. Didn't bother him. I didn't want him to make me pick a pill, because taking a pill from a random guy in the middle of Atlanta could go weird. Speaking from experience. So, Fantastic Four, they live in this retro futuristic New York City where the tech is so advanced that it's beyond our own tech, but the cars and the fashion and the look feels like, classic 60s America. And again, Galactus is the looming threat, preceded by the Silver Surfer, and then there's an internal drama because the Fantastic Four are dealing with Sue Storm's pregnancy, which brings its own complications for the relationship and for the team. And then ultimately, there's a situation where the Silver Surfer warns of Galactus's incoming presence, and then the Fantastic Four try to address the threat head on. They learn that Galactus is actually more interested in their baby because he believes it's going to be a cosmic force like no other, and that is essentially the plot. I'm not really spoiling anything, giving you that. That's just bare bones plot. What do I like about this movie? I like the look. It looks cool. It's sleek. It's fashionable. It's stylish. It's cared for. You can tell they had little ideas. In fact, even some of the ads felt maybe more age or era appropriate than what they could have done. For example, for soda, there was an ad for Canada Dry and 7-Up. Those are not two of the, most popular sodas of today, but maybe back then they were a bigger deal, or maybe they just threw a bigger bag this time around. I don't know, but it's felt cool seeing a niche soda or two. Also, you have I don't know. It feels like a cool retro little area. Think about the Incredibles and how their cars are kind of goofy shaped and their tech is crazy, but it's still this old school feel. That's what this is. And I know the Incredibles is, a ripoff of the Fantastic Four. So it's cool seeing them go full circle with it and nodding back to them, since Disney owns everything anyway. But also you have, what else is fun about this? You have good banter between, I always forget his name. Johnny Storm, what is he? Flame on? What is his name? I don't know. The Flame dude. Flame Face and Ben Grimm, the Thing, have great chemistry. And they have good banter. And the Thing has a complicated thing because, wow, crazy vocabulary over here. Because he is permanently in his status as a freak. Not a freak. I don't know what he's like. He's rock hard in the bedroom, that's for sure. No Viagra over there, but he's a monstrosity. He's crazy, right? He's a rock hard abs. He should have done a protein shake ad. I mean, he could have got away with that easy. You want rock hard abs? Drink the stuff. Buy the thing. Anyway, so he is complicated because obviously his life is no longer going to be normal. None of theirs will, but like if they at least retain their human shape and skin and all that, the thing doesn't have that. So there's like a bit of a romantic interest off in the distance. It doesn't get too much addressing via the plot, but it's cool to see him kind of be humanized in brief moments in between their adventures. And then Johnny Storm, he has a lot more maturity and intellect than he had in the Chris Evans rendition. That's not a shot at Chris Evans or that version, which was, subpar, like all the Fantastic Four movies before this. But it's just cool to see that, we're reminded these guys and gals they're scientists. Like they are the peak of intellectual society. So it makes sense that when needed, Johnny Storm, the most immature of the bunch, still has the brain capacity to actually kind of create and investigate different formulas and do this, that, and another. Not scientifically minded over here, so I don't know what I'm saying. But the point is, it's cool to see him have a brain and be witty and be funny. And the ladies' man stuff that most people would associate with that character is not here in abundance because there aren't really other characters in this movie too often. The camera, it shows the city and it's lived in to a degree, but we only get a couple of familiar faces pop up more than once or twice. One of which is like this PR lady for the Fantastic Four, another which is a love interest for Ben Grimm, then the Silver Surfer, then Galactus, and then you just have the Fantastic Four, and of course Herbie. This video is not sponsored by Herbie, though I wish it was. Herbie, I love you. But yeah, it's a fine movie. Like the stuff that feels best is the chemistry between the actors, the believability of Sue Storm and Reed Richards as a couple. Like Pedro Pascal is everywhere now, and it's kind of fatiguing at this point. I'll be honest with you. It's like I guess Hollywood found out that Latinos could be sexy, and after like Antonio Banderas, they're like, okay, who's the other guy? Pedro, come over here, and then over here, and over here. Find more people. There are more Latino actors out there than Pedro Pascal. No diss to him. He seems like a cool guy, has great politics and all that. His range is his range. He is him. He's likable, but he's him in every movie. It feels like. Anyway, so he does well with what is her name? Vanessa Kirby, because Vanessa Kirby is a pregnant woman and she's going through, a lot because the fate of the universe is really in her child's life. Like if her child's life is sacrificed, the universe is saved. As a mother, that's a non-negotiable thing, right? So she has drama with that. She also just has the drama of being a superhero in the public eye. There's some light touches on the stress that they might experience, but overall it's just cool to see them interact as a couple. There are moments where like you can tell there's like this unspoken communication between them. Like they have chemistry when they walk in a room and need to tell each other stuff. In a couple of scenes, they're saying it without saying it. The body language is there. The connection is there. I like that part. I don't like the fact that this movie is not littered with a ton of action. So you do have, obviously, Galactus and Silver Surfer as combatants in this movie. But Galactus, just in his design, is kind of hard to create action with because he's just this giant thing that, really is the size of mini skyscrapers stacked on each other. But in this movie, his scale seems to fluctuate, actually. He's like, there's a point where he jumps off the ship, lands in the ocean, and I assume he's touching the bottom. So he's at the ocean floor, but also his body's still protruding past the ocean. And then also when he's in the city, he is, not as tall as some of the buildings sometimes. I don't know architecture, but I don't feel like buildings are that tall. So I feel like Galactus should have been a more imposing presence more consistently versus his height fluctuating throughout the fights or the different scenes he was in. I think one of them might have been symbolic though, because I feel like the Fantastic Four Tower, whatever that's called, at one point was taller than him to say that, like they will overcome him. I get that part. If that was intentional, maybe I'm tripping. But yeah, what I don't like is the fact that the action is not really there with his character because you don't really fight something like that. You outsmart it, which of course is a lot of these characters' biggest strength. I mean, the Thing has his brute force, but he's also, again, a scientist, and as is everybody else on the team. So it makes sense to have them outthink their enemy and create traps and things of that nature. I just felt like, this is not going to be that exciting because they're ultimately going to go to the chalkboard and create different formulas and equations and figure out the best plan of action. And then maybe those go successfully, maybe not. But either way, they're going to be thinking things instead of maneuvering and punching and I don't know, being cool heroes. So didn't love that part, but the Silver Surfer came to really make up for any flaws that Galactus had, because the Silver Surfer is a compelling character. Her backstory is insane, and complicated. Like, you understand why she does what she does. You understand that she is ultimately an accessory for Galactus, not really in alignment with Galactus. But she must do what she must do, to protect what she is after. And I think that she has like this sexy appearance, not like physically, like she's just a silver silhouette. Is that sexy? I don't know. I don't want to tell myself if I think it is. If you want to judge me, you can imply or insinuate what you want there. But I think her presence was sexy. Okay, like it was just like, man, she commanded your attention. Like, it's like, hey, I'm here. I'm a badass. Y'all don't know how to fuck with me. Y'all don't know my language. Y'all don't know my history. Y'all know nothing about me. But I know what I'm here to do, and you are not standing in my way. And I like that. That was cool. I mean, that character, I think, is inherently interesting, just like based off design alone. But like, to make her this complicated thing that you get to learn more about, I really like that. I really like that. So this review is getting a little bit long, but we'll wrap it up soon. I'm giving this movie a 6 out of 10. It's fine. I think it has some redeeming qualities, but I think it's a little light on action and a little low on stakes. As much as this was like the fate of the universe, the fate of our world rather, is on the line, it felt very isolated. Now, there are like little news moments of like, oh, this is what they're doing in this country to prepare, and this one, and this one, and that one. And there's a cult that's formed under the name of Galactus because they believe he is a god coming to visit, whatever. Like, all that stuff is happening. They touch on it, but it's just a light brush. It's like when you walk across a counter that you should have dusted and you just swipe to see how bad of a person you are. And you wipe it off your finger. It does those things, but it doesn't ever layer with that. I feel like they don't actually give us enough tension to, make us feel like, yeah, everyone in the earth should care about getting the Fantastic Four to give up their baby, because that's a baby and we are billions of people. It's a fine movie. I'm excited for what's to come, because there is definitely 2 end credit scenes, the first of which is the most compelling, and it teases something that was already announced, and you probably already know what it is, but I won't say it. And that's going to be exciting for a lot of people, including myself. And then the last thing I'd probably say is that this movie was a little bit disappointing with music. Like, you're doing the 60s, right? It seems to be the 60s. Give me some 60s needle drops. Like, give me some old school stuff. Like, you could make it funky. You can make it soulful. You can make it poppy. You can make it a jingle. You can find some more stuff to do with this era of music. The score is fine, but like, there weren't any licensed songs that I could remember. What a waste, What a waste. So hope you guys see it. If you like it, let me know. Again, if you like this content, like, subscribe, and share. If you don't like it, kindly give me tips to be better. If you're mean to me, I will send Galactus to you. And if you're nice to me, I will consider letting you hold Herbie. Thank you.